In this video, we're going to be talking about arthropods. In the world of arthropods, it fits under the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Arthropoda, and you can see that there is a subphylum for the different types of arthropods. So arthropods have different characteristics. They have bilateral symmetry. They all have segmented bodies, jointed appendages. That means jointed legs. An exoskeleton, that's a skeleton on the outside of the body, where you and I have an endoskeleton. All arthropods have an exoskeleton. They're classified by the body parts that they have, the number of legs, the types of antenna, or the types of eyes. An antenna is a feeler that senses touch, taste, or smell. So in this slide, it talks about shrimps and crabs, looking at when they are young, like this picture here, and that what they look like when they get a little bit older as an adult shrimp. Same thing here with young crabs and as they develop into an older crab. So you can see that they're segmented with the little bars around them. Then they have jointed legs that have circles around them. And then the exoskeleton has the arrow to it. The groups of arthropods. Number 1 is centipedes and millipedes. Number 2 is crustaceans. Number 3, arachnids. Number 4, insects. And number 5 is called a trilobite, although they have gone extinct. Centipedes and millipedes. 1 pair of antennae. They have a hard head. 1 pair of mandibles. Mandibles are the mouth parts that can pierce or even suck food. Centipedes have 1 pair of legs on each segment, where millipedes actually have 2 pairs of legs on each segment. So millipedes have 4 legs per body part. Crustaceans. Most live in the water. They have gills for breathing under the exoskeleton. You'll see this when we dissect a crayfish. Mandibles for eating, mouth parts, that is. Compound eyes, 1 at the end of each eye stalk, 2 pairs of antennae. Examples would be shrimps, barnacles, crabs, and lobsters. Crayfish have external features. A lot of external features. If you ever had a lobster before, you might be familiar with, the claw, otherwise called the cheliped, the walking legs, this large shell part called the carapace, and then you have the tail part, which is called the abdomen. But first we want to talk about that there's an abdomen and there's a cephalothorax. Cephala meaning head, thorax meaning body. When you look at the internal parts of a crayfish, when you remove all the exoskeleton, you'll see that they actually do have some main body parts like a stomach and a heart. They do have gonad, which would be these sort of reproductive organs. And they have little things called green glands and mouth and mandibles and eyes. And they have muscle, and that's the part that you eat, whether you're having shrimp or you're having the lobster. They do have nerve cords that run across the bottom, and those link all the way up here to the encephalon, which is otherwise known as the brain. Then we have the arachnids. They have 2 body parts, cephalothorax and an abdomen. The cephalothorax is made up of the head and the thorax. Most have 8 legs. They have a claw-like mouth parts called chelicerae. Sounds a little Italian there, chelicerae. Simple eyes. The number varies of how many eyes they have. Examples would be spiders, scorpions, mites, or even ticks. Insects. The largest group of arthropods. They have 3 main body parts, the head, the abdomen, and the thorax. They have compound eyes, mandibles, 6 legs, 2 antennae. Some don't have wings, but most have 1 or even 2 pairs of wings on the thorax. That brings us to metamorphosis. You have complete and incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis is most insects go through the complete metamorphosis. There are 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, adult. In incomplete metamorphosis, it's a little bit less complicated than complete metamorphosis. There are 3 main stages: egg, nymph, and nymph is usually when they shed their skin, molting, and to grow, and then it's an adult stage. Examples of there would be grasshoppers and crickets. We'll go through incomplete metamorphosis. So here I have a picture. On the left-hand side, I have complete metamorphosis. This is of a butterfly. So it starts as egg, goes to larva. We know them as caterpillars, goes into pupa. You would know it as like a chrysalis or a cocoon, and then it goes to an adult. Where incomplete metamorphosis would give you egg, a young nymph, an older nymph called a later nymph, and then an adult. All right, that ends this part of the presentation, and go ahead and take your notes.